and this is a City of West Miami Recreational Advisory Committee hearing. Present are
Nancy Ortega.
Salvador Rodríguez. Miguel Casanova.
You need to press those two little red buttons in front of you.
yeah, right, those. And
Do it again.
Commissioner Juan Blanes and Marcos Lopez should be in shortly.
We're going to repeat our names.
Yeah, because they didn't.
Miguel Casanova.
María Elena Salazar.
There you go.
Salvador Rodríguez.
Nancy Ortega.
Okay.
And Juan Blanes, Commissioner, and Marcos Lopez should be in shortly. We're calling this meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, under old business, none this time. Under new business, item 4A, overview of Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program for fiscal year 2015-16 and the steps necessary before submitting an application by Mr. Pena.
Mr. Pena.
Good evening. As you can recall from yesterday's meeting for the sole purpose meetings that we had at the Recreation Center for the Recreation Center and also for Cooper Park, we are in the process of submitting two FERDAP applications. One large project, which requires a 50% match, and one small project which requires no match. The large project is for the Recreation Center, and it entails the building of a canopy structure over the basketball courts to protect from the elements during regular time of the year, and also to provide a shaded area for people to either sit or rest or whatever they want to do. In addition to that, we are also adding to that application the replacement of the backstop for Field A, the replenishment of the clay for Field A, the construction of a permanent barbecue to the southwest side of the pavilion, and replacing the new playgrounds, the two playgrounds that are at on the north side of the pavilion. There's two sets right there now. We are replacing those with two age-appropriate equipment. One is from 2 to 5, and the other one is from 5 to 12. And in addition to that, we are also retiling the two restrooms that are part of the old building, and adding picnic benches in the area just south of the pavilion. That entails a match of 50%, which we're taking from the Parks Parks impact fee proceeds that we have collected from the recent development on 67th Avenue and on 57th Avenue, which will put this project probably about close to $500,000 for all the work at the rec center. We need to have this public meeting in order to submit to FERDAP, and that will meet the requirements for the large project. For the small project at Cooper Park, we are replacing both playground structures. However, one of them is being funded by Publix, which is the age-appropriate 2 to 5, which it currently goes on the southeast corner of the park where they have their construction trailers right now. Come October, when they leave, we have the money already in hand to replace that system. Because they're providing that money, we only need an additional small project, $50,000, in order to replace the one on the northeast corner, and also repave the existing walking track that we have around Cooper Park. Those two will combine the $50,000 small project that we're applying for Cooper Park. Also, that is part of this meeting also, and that's a requirement of the FERDAP procedures. Any questions on any of those two?
Any questions? I have a question, Mr. Penna.
Yes.
At one time, we spoke about having barriers all around Cooper Park.
Correct.
Where are we at as far as doing that?
I believe I've contemplated that in the CIP schedule that you have, the capital improvement schedule that you have there.
Okay.
That will be done with impact fee money, but it wasn't worthy of a project that would be funded by FERDAP. They look for recreational activities, not things that will protect the parks, something that'll get the people involved in going to the park.
So we will be able to do that with those funds?
Yes.
When we redo the playgrounds, more or less
The
about the
playground
same
and
time?
the paving area.
Okay, perfect. Nancy, did you have a question?
No.
Anybody?
I do. What are we replacing in the baseball field?
The backstop to the field A, which is the one with the large field, the one that's used for playing softball. That one was installed in 1982, and the shape of it has been very complicated from day one because the mesh doesn't protect the poles, and when you have a foul ball that hits one of those poles, it ricochets directly back at the players or the people that are standing underneath the backstop.
So it's going to be a different design on the backstop?
Complete different design.
Will be the highest, it'll be higher or?
It'll be more traditional, like the square type of backstop that you've seen in most parks. They've gotten away from that arc design because of that.
On the field, you say you're going to reclay the field. Just going to reclay it, or you're going to do it the right way, put bases on it and everything on it, or just reclay the field?
No, it'll be done professionally. It'll be done complete subgrade rework, and then they add the levels of clay, and then they come back and they add they put in the ball field on the baseball markers for the bases to go, and also they put in a irrigation system on the perimeter so it automatically irrigates the field.
What about the lights? Are you replacing any of the lights on there or not?
It's in the CIP schedule for future projects, but not in this
Not
project.
in this one? Because the two lights behind the home plate, those are very low and they're very dangerous the way we play. We play at night, the light shine at your face when you're playing there. So there's something needs to be taken into consideration.
You know about the height?
Yes, the poles are not high enough.
Okay.
This doesn't include anything for the drainage of the field, right? Better drainage for the baseball field?
Well, the problem with the drainage is that the way the park is laid out, it's supposed to serve as a retention pond in case of severe flooding. So you can't raise it and elevate it. We've actually put in some drainage to the right field line, and also just east of the dugouts on the first base side. We have trenches there for drainage, but we can't go too severe because then it eliminates the purpose of what we're using it for the rest of the city there.
But
Which
the
is
question
a-
I have, we do have a storm sewer station right next to it. That should be able to take care of that water, and it doesn't. It gets flooded constantly.
flooded, yeah.
Because
So
it's part of the retention.
But I believe the retention will be if the station is not working. Yes, you should retain.
No,
but
no.
While the station is working, you shouldn't have water sitting on the field.
No, unfortunately, that's not regulated that way. Durham regulates your outflow, and you can only dump so much water into the C4 and C3 canals.
Exactly, I know that.
So when the design was put in place for the stormwater station there, they required us to leave the park that low in order to pick up some of the excess. They don't want you pumping all the water out to the canals. They want you to retain it and drain it.
And there's not really any good percolation there because of what's below.
Well, no, this percolation is just that because of the elevation at which the ball field is at compared to the streets, you're going to have
Everything
holding
flows.
water until everything else drains out.
Alright.
It's improved over the years because of the stormwater station that's there in the corner. Once that
Yeah,
drains out the area,
a little
it
bit
drains
better.
faster. Before, you would have 2 weeks of 2 feet of water in the field. Now you may have 2 or 3
Does the
days.
does that station run when it's raining, or only when the water table gets to a certain level? That
When it gets to a
turn-
certain
To
level.
a certain level. So that's what I'm trying to say, that water should go into the drain to the station or something, because the way it sits there, I mean, it's getting worse every day. You get a little bit of rain, and it's always
Yeah,
flooded, and it
it's
stays
pretty
for
bad.
weeks before the water drains out of that field. So something ain't right with that field. It shouldn't be that way.
Again,
I know what you're saying, Juan, I understand what you're saying, but
it's part of our permit. We can't raise it,
But
and we can't drain it.
could it be that it's just that for hurricane season, not?
No, year-round.
Year-round, oh, okay.
Rainy
You're-
season.
It's a shame.
At one time, we had talked about some French drains.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's when we submitted the application for the stormwater station, that we got denied any additional drainage from the park into that station.
Right, so it was not allowed because of that.
They
At
want-
one time, I proposed French drains, putting French drains all along, from home to First and from, home to Third, but, yeah, they didn't.
They allowed us to put percolation pits, which are filled with ballast rock, but they didn't allow us to put drains.
Were we able to do that?
Yeah, we did the percolations. Ballast rock fields, underneath that grass there, the first baseline, outside of the dugouts, and just west of the right field, under those black olive trees, all that is ballast rock.
Anything else on item A?
No, that's it.
Madam Clerk? Yes. On item 4B, review of the capital improvement element of the comprehensive plan as adopted.
Before you, you have a schedule that says table CAP 1A, and that's a 5-year capital improvement plan that goes from 2015 to 2020. The items that you see crossed out are items that have been achieved throughout the years. And then the newer stuff that we're looking forward to installing at the parks and the rest of the city complex buildings. This is a complete, comprehensive 5-year plan. It's not just for the parks. But if you go through the first page, which is for recreation and open space, since the building's already been built, now part of the Publix's donation, they gave us the standby generator that the old BB&T bank had,
Right.
which we have out here in storage. The idea was to build a building to house that generator at the rec center so that it would have power year-round. That's one of the items that we have there for the park, for the recreation center. The next one is acquisition of parklands, and that's part of the development process that we have throughout the commercial corridor. We're required to maintain the same level of service as we increase population, not to decrease the same level of service that we have in our comp plan now. And therefore, every year, we're looking to see where we could acquisition more lands for parks. Last year, we acquisitioned about a half acre on Southwest 10th Street and 66 to add to the Garden Club Park. And that will be part of the park eventually with the other grants that we have for the work that we're doing there. The basketball court roof system is the one that we're applying for now, which are this one's going to be open all around. Before it had walls and doors, because we were thinking of doing that before we had the building that we have now for recreation. So this will just be a freestanding. When we go to baseball field enhancements, then you have the level and reclay of the baseball field A. For future, we have level of reclay of baseball, the T-ball field, the protective backstop for field A, a replacement gas power cart to replace the one that we have currently now in the future, replacement of existing field lights and wiring for both baseball field and poles. That's what you were talking about. We have it there. And replacement of the rear park fence for security of the park field. along the north end of the park on the baseball field, that old fence is in very bad condition, and we would like to replace it in the future. All these projects, we put them on here because it all depends on when funding becomes available, that we are able to apply for those grants. And if you don't have it in your CIP, you can't apply for the,
The fence you're talking about is the one that divide the neighbors from the park? That's the one you're talking about? With the fence you're talking about, it's the one that divide the neighbors?
the neighbors to the 16th Terrace to the park.
To the north.
Correct. And all along to the northeast, all along the FPL lot.
Right.
Then we have replacement of the shade structures on the tennis courts, which are also beginning to show signs of wear. Replacing the sports lighting and poles also at the tennis courts. Replacement of the tennis court fencing and the batting cage fencing. For the recreation pavilion, we have the barbecue, which is part of this application. And then for the playground and general renovation is install new structures to replace the existing ones at Cooper Park and at the rec center, along with any bleachers and seating area that's damaged, and also the substrate material at the recreation center for the new playgrounds. Then we have the replacement of the irrigation pumping system at Cooper Park, which is going up in its age. And then we go back to the rec center, and we have replacement of the restroom building and weight room building and a new gymnasium multi-purpose room complex. This will be between now and 2020, depending on what monies become available. Our intent is to get the old weight room building, restrooms, racquetball court, and just extend a new building out to there. That'll be a gymnasium, multi-purpose with restrooms and weight room. So, and all enclosed, and also,
Air conditioned?
yes, and visible to the park side, to the basketball side. So some type of plexiglass window structure where you could see the rest of the park. And then the tiling that we have now for the bathrooms at the rec center in the meantime. Then for the tennis courts, again, they're beginning to show signs of wear. I think we did them about 5-6 years ago. So we're putting it in there again to resurface the tennis courts and basketball courts. If we get the building for the shade structure for the basketball courts, we'll probably be doing those courts simultaneously to have it all done in one, and leave the tennis courts for a separate time. And we'll take that probably out of impact fees. And that will do it for all the recreation and park items. There's additional drainage and stuff like that throughout the city, and construction here, Public Works and City Hall grounds. So if you have any other ideas of what you would like to see at the park, now would be the time to say it, so I could incorporate it in next year's CIP schedule. If not, we go on to the next item.
Any idea
For the,
for the park?
well, I've been listening, and I think that the one that's pressing the most is the gymnasium and complex restroom replacement and all that. So as soon as we get other impact fees, we'll be able to look at that from other projects.
Mr. Penna, I know that at one time or another, there was some talk that maybe we could possibly partner with Baptist Hospital and make that complex sort of a wellness type center that not only would be, for fitness, but it would be for nutrition and health prevention and that sort of thing. Is there a possibility of accomplishing
I would
this?
think so. I would think that would be something that we would sit down with them once we have some idea and some funding in the pipeline in order to see if they want to partner up as partners of West Miami to develop that concept there at the park. don't see why not.
So I don't think that they've done that anywhere.
Correct.
So, I don't know, they might want to start with us small, and if it becomes very successful, then they can possibly think of expanding and going to other areas. And of course, bringing business to their hospitals and clinics and those emergency centers.
Well, perhaps we could work something out with them that will provide someone from their staff here to make sure that what you're doing, you're in good health for it and stuff like that. Do some type of pre-screening at the park in an office space or some cubicle there
Right.
prior to joining any of those types of,
Well, as long as they become partners financially and help us construct this structure.
I don't see what they wouldn't. They've done other stuff throughout the community.
Well, let's do that. Once we have enough information so they can take a look at it and see if it's something that can be feasible. Maybe we can even pitch to them the idea of having, like a nurse or a nurse practitioner or someone there from a certain time to a certain time, or a dietitian. Some days they can have the nurse, and other days they can have the dietitian, and have these community outreach programs for the community, and invite everyone.
Correct.
Not just the City of West Miami residents.
Good idea.
Is that it on item B?
Did they ever have any plans for an indoor basketball court here?
No, the purpose of putting the shelter over it's that it shields it from the outdoor elements. As far as a gymnasium type of thing, no, we've never looked at that. I don't think we really have the space for that. And you would lose the outdoor setting that park has.
Right.
I've seen it in Pinecrest and
Coral Gables Youth Center.
and also up towards Silver Bluff and Broward. They have some type of gymnasium style like that, and they got
City of Miami too has a.
and they have baseball fields, but they have more baseball fields, so they have outdoor activities and indoor activities.
Yeah.
But on this so small, I don't
We were
think.
taking too much space.
I think so.
Yeah.
So that's it on item B.
Yes, sir.
Madam Clerk, can you read item C?
Item 4C, discussion regarding the formulation of a fiscal year 2015-16 FERDAP grant application utilizing the priorities outlined within the CIP, presentation of staff recommendations.
This goes back to our two discussions earlier regarding our applications for the FERDAP for 2015-16. If you're okay with it, then we'll submit those applications now in this month, and we should be hearing from the state legislature probably sometime in March or April of next year. If you agree with all the items that we,
Mr. Pena, is our lobbyist, Fausto Gomez, aware of these projects?
once we submit the applications, he'll be sent copies of
But I think he knows. He
Yeah.
knows what our plans are, right? And he
Usually.
hasn't communicated any forecast on.
No, again, like you said, this year.
Was a tough year.
Was a tough year, and they cut out all the large projects. At least they funded the small projects. So,
Hopefully, that
Well-
next legislative session, they can all hold hands and sing Kumbaya
and have a better year.
and have a better year. There was a lot of acrimony there, and not much got done.
Well,
That-
usually,
That's politics.
remember, next year will be an election year also, so they'll be more in the mood of giving.
They might behave a little bit.
Yeah. Vote for me.
No, I know that our representatives, Eric Fressen and Alex de la Portilla,
De la Portilla.
Dia de la Portilla, they've been great. Actually, this year was my first year to go to days. In all the years that I've been a councilman here, I have never gone, because we've been very well represented. And we were welcomed there by them, and we expressed all our concerns and issues, and they know. They know exactly what our concerns are and what our needs are. So And of course, we keep calling them and reminding them one way or another, so they do know. They know, yeah. So we just got to keep repeating and remember. But they, for some reason, West Miami, for them, is they have a place in their heart for us.
Well, at least Mr. Fresden grew up here. He knows our needs.
Yeah. Well, and Alex too. I mean, he does, he has some ties here to this community too, so.
I have a question. If this grant goes through, when we will get the money?
Usually they award in May or June. We'll get a notice of approval from the state, and that would be funded from July 1st of next year, which starts their new fiscal year. So we'll have, after that, we'll have 18 months to do the work.
So we are about almost 2 years away if we get the money to have everything repaired on the fields and everything. Do we have any money in the city to do the manual repairs on equipment, like buy way equipment for the weight room, or reclay the park some, because it's in everything is in bad shape there.
Well, I can tell you that we just about done our budget that will be due September 30th, and no, there isn't.
No money.
If you look at our budget, every nickel and every dime is accounted for. I think that if other cities would do their budget like ours, they would have lots of money left over.
If we have a good fund balance,
You
It's
mean
starting to grow.
reserves?
yeah, reserve.
Reserves?
Starting to grow.
Yes, yes.
The,
Can get it from the reserve?
But that would leave us with no reserves, and then if we have an emergency like a hurricane and we have to do cleanup,
remember that the whole purpose of allowing development is to collect impact fees. One of the highest rates that we have is for Parks and Recreation. So in Parks and Recreation, we do have plenty of funding, but if we're gonna commit it to these projects, it has to stay there until we're noticed yay or nay.
Right, because you don't want to lose it.
Exactly. If we're told nay,
right?
then we could get our portion of the
Got it,
money
yeah.
and invest in the
Yeah.
stuff, and we don't
Yeah.
have to wait 2 years, but we do have to wait at least 6 months of the process to go through the FERDAP grant before we
Yeah.
commit to anything. Once they say yay,
Then
and
we can,
and we have a contract, we could start doing some of the work. It's just the major components, which will be the structure and all that, that will take the longer time, but the reclaying of the field and all this stuff like that, we could actually put out to bid immediately after they say yay.
yeah, you want to leave it there
Correct.
until we get the grant.
As far as the playground equipment and stuff like that, that will be already items that we have out for bid, so the
Right.
minute that they say yeah, we're ready to
All right.
replace.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Penna, for
No.
Item C?
No, again, if you're okay with the priority list that we just put in for those two applications, then we will proceed with them. Item D is actually what occurred yesterday, so that's a moot point. That item should have been removed.
Now that we're all here, anybody has any concerns, any suggestions, ideas,
We are-
illuminations?
We are, as part of our comprehensive plan, identifying other lands that we want for parks. And obviously, the only place that's available left around here would be the back of the trailer park. So we are seeking for other lands for future improvements and future parks. Not just pocket parks, a park as big as the rec center.
Right.
Do we need more parks? I mean, the city hasn't grown. Has it grown more? Or
Population-wise, you
it
will.
has?
Yeah.
With those two developments, the one on 67th Avenue and the one on 57th Avenue, we're looking at maybe
Additional 1,200.
3,500.
2,000-3,000 more people.
Yeah, yeah. So according to that figure, we needed to increase.
The parklands.
You're going to have to increase everything, police, fire, cleanup, garbage
Well,
collection.
fire is handled by Miami-Dade. Police is handled by us, and they staff appropriately because their ratios are up there. And as far as garbage and collection, we don't supply them, they're private haulers. They're self-contained units. So the only thing that really impacts the city is
The
police
police.
and the water and sewer system, which they become part of the impact fees go to the parks, water and sewer.
And we are planning, I know the police department is planning on having really good communication with the tenants, with the residents of these new developments. I know that they're going to plan outings there where they can meet with them in the lobby area, you know, and tell them about our city, about our history, about our services, not just for them just to move there and live there and not know where they live, because unfortunately, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the city administration is also planning on doing the same, and of course, the mayor and the commission will also be joining them, so.
In addition to that, those complexes are all-inclusive. They have gymnasiums, they have party rooms, they have big areas for gatherings, so they will have their own, but we want them to make sure that they're, when they do come into the city, that they have the capability and the space for 'em.
Are they gonna be rental or privately owned? The people that are gonna live there, it's gonna be rented out?
No, right now, they're all rentals.
All rentals, both?
Yes.
Yes. And from what I hear, the quality, it's going to be very, very good.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, it's going to be class 1 type
We hope so.
amenities and,
Very
no, you know,
expensive.
How does it happen that it happened before those old buildings out there?
they are going to have security. I believe the
They're all
one,
private own security too?
yes, I
They
believe.
have their own private security, they have valet service for their vehicles, they have,
I believe the one on 57th Avenue is even going to have a concierge
yes.
service. So, yeah, so it's going to be a really nice place to live in. It's going to attract young professionals, you know, that either work in the Gables or Doral or downtown. I mean, these guys have invested a lot of money in the city of West Miami.
Nice.
And they done their homework as far as who they feel they're going to be catering.
demographic for
Yes,
them.
yes, they have. They done their homework. And I'm really glad that they,
Actually, without
Shows
being
us.
able to show the building, because the building hasn't been finished, within the month of May and June that they went out and started leasing, they have, I believe, over 60 units already leased.
Wow.
And I asked them who were the applicants, and they told me there was mostly from Miami Children's Hospital, from Baptist Hospital, from the University of Miami. So it's people that are professionals that are actually running there.
You know,
Yeah.
with the traffic situation, all those three
Yeah.
places you mentioned is perfect
It's
for them,
perfect
because
for
they go
them,
against the
yeah.
traffic or no, they're right there.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
10, 20 minutes away, you
yes.
know, that's good.
Situation
How
Yeah.
many apartments are we talking about here?
The one on 57th that has 202, and the one on 67th has 206.
They're the same, more or less the same rental income, or?
No, this one's more expensive because of the views over to Coral Gables, and at the same time, the amenities here are more exclusive. There's saunas, there's concierge service, there's ballet service for the cars, there's,
And with the inauguration of the Publix, not far away, I think, you know, sometimes they say that there's a business that comes into a business area and they act as the hub or the wheel or the anchor. That's the word, the anchor business. I think that the Publix for us is going to be a sort of an anchor type of
Yes.
a business, and that's going to bring in
that.
others,
We needed
uh,
that.
dry cleaning, you know, liquor stores, bookstores, hopefully, you know, maybe we can even get Starbucks to come. I know at one time they wanted to, hopefully maybe,
I believe that's in the works again.
it's in the
Yeah,
works again?
that's good.
Okay, I don't want to hear about it.
It took 30
But-
or 40 years
but
for
there's-
us to come back here and hit West Miami again, because we were always bypassed. You know, they did Kendall, Fontainebleau, everything, we were left.
Well,
We were always too far west,
Yeah,
and then
too far
it passed us and now it came back.
Now we
Yeah.
came back, right?
And I tell you, from sitting in this position, you know, for some time now, I've learned that, you know, whenever there's change, whenever there's going to be some kind of change, people become very apprehensive. They think it's going to be a detriment. They think, they like West Miami. They like living in a small community with good services, and that's the way they want to keep it. But it is this commission's intention to keep it that way. But what does not grow dies, and we do have to have some kind of development. And this development has been very gauged. It has not been, crazy, sprawling type of development. Mr. Pena deserves a great deal of credit
Yes.
because, he wears many hats, and everything falls on him as far as, planning and developing these projects. So the whole administration is going to be, I believe the our recreation division, with these new residents, I am sure that they're going to have children.
Oh, definitely.
I am sure that we are going to see an influx of more children coming to the recreational center, for summer programs and the other many programs that we have. So I see a bright future for us. And at the same time, still remaining a small community with really good services. And this that we're doing here, guarantees that it will continue on that path. And I thank each and every one of you for being here and helping us accomplish this.
And that's the last item. The good of the order is next.
Yes, because item D is of the agenda. Item 5, good of the order.
This is open to you
Any
guys.
ideas?
Any last words? Any suggestions? Any gripes? I know he wants to have those lights up high.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Is there any way that we can somehow do that, accomplish that without changing just the height?
No, you need new poles for that. You need new poles for that.
There's no way of.
Put an extension on that post?
No.
No, it's not gonna work.
All right.
They're at least 20 feet short.
Because since he said it was kind of a dangerous type of the glare or the way
The light
light
shines at you instead of on top of you. The light shines straight at you.
Again, remember, we're changing the backstop. If they happen to be in the way or close enough that they could be replaced at that time, then we'll look into it. So.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question you might not be able to answer. Are we gonna stop with this trailer park for all our life?
It's a good question.
I believe it's time to adjourn the meeting.
It's no.
No?
No.
I hope so.
I hope not.
I hope.
No, I think there's light at the end of the
Little
tunnel.
by little, we have been,
Well, one more thing about the park. If they don't have enough money to
big
do
one
the
now.
whole park, we should start do the clay and do the lights
Yeah.
first before we do the backstop.
Yes.
Okay, because the backstop can still wait. I mean, it's getting old, but it's still holding together.
And as soon as we need to meet again, I'm sure the administration will call you and advise you. And again, I thank you. I thank you for taking the time and being here. I know that we live busy lives and we got a lot of things to do, so.
This
But
is always,
it is very appreciated, and everyone thanks you.
I'm retired, so you can count on me.
You can always count on me too.
And Mike, you're almost retired,
I
aren't you?
thank John Michael for being here and the city
Almost.
clerk.
4 more years to go.
4 more?
4 more to go.
All right.
He
Well,
can't
what about-
retire. He can't
He's
get
too
away
young
from
to
work.
retire still.
I don't know. Well,
Adjourn?
Okay,
adjournment.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn the meeting? Aye, okay.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.